Judging from all these natural resources we have and are yet untapped, do you see it as a cause for the okay, sorry, and then there is a growing unemployment rate in Nigeria. Do you see it as a cause for widespread insecurity in the country?
I mean, I think it's a direct question, and there is no there will not be need to beat around the bush. This is exactly the core of the problem that we find today. This is where we are, and it is very glaring. We can see that this is the reason why, when Scripture says that, or the popular saying that, when the idle mind is the devil's workshop. So when people are not employed, when they do not find things to do, when there are no constructive narrative on the path, clear path on how things should be done, of course, um, this is the core reason why we have the insecurity problem we're facing today. It's been there, but what has happened right now is that it has created a wide environment for it to be able to flourish. So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
None. Why is gainful employment in Nigeria seems to be like a mirage, considering the vast resources that Nigeria is blessed with?
Again, you see, the Nigerian situation is a very, very precarious one. Um, we, a lot of time people frown at things when we say Nigeria is a scam. A lot of things are scam. You have plastic. Nigeria is the only country where government in, government out. The CBN governor will receive award. All the people in charge of all their economic growth, they all get awards. When they leave, we castigate them that they are bad. The new ones that come also get award. The same thing keeps happening. We say this one is bad, and across the world, they all get awards, but we are not moving anywhere. So there's something completely fake. You see, all the things you are reeling out and all of that, until we go back to the basics, something is fundamentally wrong with our system economically as a people. And this is why, again, you see that we keep moving backward continuously. What is it to be gainfully employed? That you have your job cut out for you, and then you are receiving emolument, or you are getting paid commensurate to the job you are doing. But look at our civil service system today. Or if you go out to any shop or any places, if you come to my office, for example, and I don't have, my staff don't have job to do, and at the end of the day, I don't pay them. Or you go to the civil service. I'm trying to explain so that people can understand that you have a clear-cut job, and your emolument or your salary is commensurate to the work. But in almost every sector in Nigeria, that's not the case. So it's very pathetic. And once that is a problem, there is no way we're not going to have the problems that we have. So things they won't even out. There will not be a balance. And so we're not going to have what you're asking for. It's not going to be possible. And these are fundamental problems that are eating into our system completely. And with that, we take one step forward and 10 steps backward. I was giving an example to somebody that, imagine if somebody is working. You started working in 1983, for example, and you are earning, maybe you're earning between 1983, you are earning maybe even 500 naira. The value of the dollar is like $700 in 1983. Give 33 or 35 years later, maybe in 2006 you retire. You discover that if you multiply the rate ratio, the person who is earning like 500 naira in 1983 should be earning about maybe close to 200,000 or 180,000. But then he has moved backward. What is the value of dollar? From 700, he will be earning like $500 right now. So what has happened to his entire life? There is no commensurate measurement. And this is the bug, this is the problem we are facing in Nigeria. So there's no gainful employment in Nigeria.
All right, just for a youthful digression.
Yeah.
Do you think the government is paying a lip service to the diversification of oil?
when you talk about government and governance and what is happening, it gets me really angry, you know. Lip service. I wish we even have lip service. That would even be better because we would know. But this is absolutely, forgive the use of the word, almost nonsense that is happening in our country, and it's very annoying. Where you are seeing Nigeria is the only country where a government will come out and tell us, yes, something is black. You tell us that it is white, and you expect us, to just accept it. You saw what happened in Sri Lanka just a few days or weeks ago. Look at all the people. A failure. There was an intel given that something is going to happen. When it happened, you saw a commensurate retirement. People were sacked. But in Nigeria, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Even when intels are given, it's so funny that in Nigeria, people who are head of the governors will be shouting. IG will also be crying. The president is also crying. So when we get to that point, for goodness sake, this is worse than lip service, what is going on. And it's not going to take us anywhere.
Now, what do you think we can do very quickly before this oil dries up? Because trust me, the oil will dry up one day. Nigeria is depending so much on oil. What do you think we can do before this thing happens?
I'm not even thinking of what we can do. I wish God can just answer some of our prayers. I wish the oil can just dry up now. Because you see this country, if the oil doesn't dry up, this dance, this dementia, this delirium that we're inside will never stop. They say that if you push somebody to the wall, by the time the person is on the wall, there'll be a corresponding reaction back. In Nigeria, is a lie. When you push people to the wall, as you keep pushing them, they will break the wall and find an exit route. That's the case with Nigeria. And I don't know what it is that has been ingrained in our DNA that we can overcome every other thing in another part of the world. But when it comes to Nigeria, we'll keep going. We just keep going. Nothing, So the oil needs to dry up. I wish the oil can just dry up today. You see, before the oil, you know the story now. Before the oil, Nigeria was doing well. Look at all our cash crops, from groundnut, the groundnut pyramid, from the rubber to the cocoa. I mean, we were doing very well. Our parents were gainfully employed because they work and then they get commensurate. I mean, they were doing well. Our generation was cheated. I mean, some of the things we hear is almost like impossible. Two people in bungs, they went to school, they had good education, they worked very well. I mean, you can graduate from school and buy a brand new car. All of these things are stories and mirages, as if it's never happened, And it is this oil that brought it. It's like the story that was told a few days ago, And I would like to tell the story so that people can hear that somebody took a journey to go and see his friend somewhere in the desert, and that they were doing well in the desert. His friends were doing very well. They had their plantation and they were doing well. But before he got there, when he got there, he saw that there was a cow that was tied by the side of the house that was looking very emaciated. And then when he saw his friend, the condition he met the first time he visited with the friend was not the same thing. And the friend was telling him that shortly after he left, the last time he came, that a friend gave him a very big cow. And that cow was looking very robust. And so because they got that cow, they now started milking the cow and selling, the milk product. And because of that, he didn't farm anymore. And because it was now easy, he didn't have to go to the farm anymore. So he married more wives, had more children, and had become very big and wealthy. But you see, this one cow that kept feeding the family, with time could not cope anymore, so he became so emaciated. So things were not as they used to be when he was engaged in farming and all of that. So when the friend now came, as the friend left, he sent his aides to go and carry that cow and kill the cow. So they threw the cow down the cliff. But I'll spare you the end of the story. But that's what needs to happen in Nigeria. I wish and pray that God in heaven can just shut this oil. Because once this oil go, we will come back to our senses. Because all we are living is a scam. We're not living real lives at all. This is why again you see the maybe I shouldn't even go there now. The agri minister was complaining and shouting. It is because we are living a very fake life. Somebody sits down, and now me and you will live in Abuja now, you know, where you do nothing but so much is happening, and you can afford to what? Order pizza from UK. You understand? Those kind of life and those kind of things that we're living. So if the oil finish, our senses will come back, because you know what? Our head in Nigeria, this oil has bent our head, because like that cow that guy that his friend gave him, you know, because since you can be milking the cow, there is no reason to go to farm, there is no reason to use anything. So that's the case. So before we can even come to the issue of what should we do, should we be talking about that? Don't we have Dubai here? Don't we have Saudi Arabia? What? Our leaders travel out of the country every day. We copy nothing but only the bad things. Oh, we know how to copy, how to buy new cars, how to rent houses and build and carry money and go and steal money and go and build houses in fine places. Why can't we replicate that in Nigeria? I mean, there are templates all over the world. Dubai is an example. The same timeline that we discovered oil. But look at what I've been to Dubai twice, and I can tell you what. Today is the technological hub of the world. And guess what? They do not even have as fine and in quantity the amount of crude oil we have. So I pray this in just, I don't know why God will not answer our prayer. You know?
And having said that, Moses, a leading oil producing country is coming to Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, to set up an oil refinery. Do you think this is a sharing news for us?
You see, you have set me on the course that I'm already very angry, like the everyday Nigerian. I mean, we are the ones with the oil. We are the ones. Look at the amount of things you read out as our potentiality, as a mineral base in Nigeria. But we're all applauding. Our minister, we're all happy. We're shaking hands. But you see what the minister of somebody Khalid, what he said. What they want to do, what they are supposed to do is the revamping of our refineries. But no, what they want, they've seen a big cow to milk. And so if you give them room, and since we cannot organize ourselves and take care of ourselves, we're the ones with the money, and we cannot do it, and so they'll come and help us now and keep enslaving us. Nigeria in Africa, where we have become, I mean, we own our own banks, we own our own businesses. Why can't we own our own refineries? What is the big deal there? We have the Africa's richest man in Nigeria. I mean, we have people who are doing so well. Why can't we do it? Why do we have to depend? Why should it be a welcoming idea? The same thing, enslaving ourselves. Whether it is the US or UK or Saudi Arabia, makes no difference. So, of what value is even our education? Of what value is having the richest man in Nigeria? Of what value is anything that is valuable that we have? If other people have to come and help us, what is going to happen, I'll tell you, is more enslavement. Period, nothing more. That's what is going to happen. And that's what we are happy, and we're cheering and clapping and welcoming more people to come and do that to us. No, it is not a cheering news or a welcoming one. And Nigerians need to wake up to this reality and know what is happening. This is modern day complete slavery. I mean, we are the number one producer, oil-rich production nation in Africa, 6th in the world. And we want Saudi Arabia to come and help us build our refineries.
Now, in this mood that you are now, I want you to quickly tell us, why do you think we suffer? We have so much resources at our disposal, yet we are suffering in the sense that we pay so much for diesel, we pay so much for kerosene, we pay so much for petrol. Why do Nigeria suffer in the midst of all of these resources?
Why would we suffer, Rose, for goodness sake? It's exactly what we're talking about. Why should we not suffer? In fact, I'm surprised that we're still sitting like this. Because you see, the trajectory is already wrong. Our foundation for economic policies, for implementation of everything is completely wrong. Tell me, Rose, we are in Abuja here. If we have to go to Lagos, you see the pure water we drink. Imagine that we have to go to Lagos, dig a borehole in Lagos, purify the water, and then bring it back to Abuja to come and sell it. No, let me paint the picture correctly. We dig the borehole in Abuja, take out the water, send it to Lagos, purify it, and bring it back, how much are you going to be buying a sachet of pure water?
To be expensive.
I want to paint the picture so that Nigerian can understand. Because it's not in the eloquence of my speech, it's not in the grammar. You see all the things you read out. Like I told you, we keep receiving award, but we're not going anywhere. We keep lying to ourselves, but we're not going anywhere. Those things can never change or save us. If we dig borehole in Abuja, take water out, transport it to Lagos, purify it, do all the things we need, and transport it back, I can tell you, me and you will not be able to drink pure water. That's what is happening. This is why we will keep going through the problem. Oh, so now we have the crude oil. We have the oil, but Saudi Arabia has to come. China will have to come and do the work for us. I'm surprised that we are not dead yet. I'm still surprised that we are alive, because we will continue in this mess until we wake up to take water out, purify it, and give it to our people. You know what? With government subvention, it's possible to even drink water for free. It is possible for us to have these resources and be able to enjoy it. And I can tell you what, based on the things you read out when you were reading the news on our natural resources, even apart from oil, research shows that we lose a revenue collectively 50 trillion annually. There'll be no youth that will be unemployed in Nigeria. But as long as we're not taking the path of hard work, of honor, of sincerity, of putting our value system together, Rose, one chance is what we have entered.
Okay, talking about one chance. This is Paul Moses talking to us about the Nigeria economy, and my name is Rose Audu. You're watching Clearview Television. It's Hello Africa, in case you just tuned in. At this moment, we'll just go on a very short break, and I told you earlier, our phone lines are open. You can actually call and make your contribution. We'll be right back after this short break.
This is Ibrahim calling from Niger State Medical Power.
Oh, this is Anita from Benin.
My name is John, calling from Niger.
My name is Ahmed. I'm calling from Kogi State.
This is Clearview TV, and this is our spread through free-to-air via Nikonsat and online.
Yes, this is Difus calling you from Adamawa State.
Adamala Ahmad Ibrahim.
Mala Ahmad Ibrahim daga wace jiha kenan?
Daga Yobe. I'm calling from Benue. My name is Super Mekka. I'm calling from Niger State.
You can imagine how far your advertisements, social announcements, official notices, and jingles will go if you patronize us. It's time to take your messages far at the cheapest rate.
Hello, Africa. Hello, Africa. Tell me how you do, Africa.
Welcome back. This is Hello Africa on Clearview Television. My name is Rose Audu, and we've been talking about the Nigeria economy, the way forward. In case you're just joining us, I have with me in the studio Paul Moses. He's an activist and he is also a businessman. Our phone lines are open for you to call in and make your contribution to what we are discussing. Now, he's been talking to us before we went on that break.
That's right.
Now, the next question I'll be asking you is, when we talk about diversification of oil, what do you think about? Like, what other area are you thinking of?
I mean, like I said, the areas are clear cut, and mining is there. You reeled everything out for us. We can see that very clearly. You can see what is happening in Zamfara State. You know, many Nigerians didn't know. Only few people like us, you know, because as an environmentalist, I understood a long time ago the potentiality, how wealthy we are as a people in terms of mineral resources. You know, is it coal? Is it tantalite? Is it even the nickel in Kaduna State? All over this country, per square meter, there is practically no nation on earth that is so endowed with mineral resources like Nigeria. So Mining alone can put Nigeria on the globe, you know. Then when we go agriculture, that's totally a different thing altogether. You know, all of us can be engaged in agriculture. I mean, Israel is just like the size of Abuja, but see what they are doing. What we call precision agriculture. The middle belt of Nigeria alone can feed West Africa. And I mean it from every sense of the word, because we are so rich. Nigeria is the only country where all the geographic belt cuts across Nigeria. It tells what else do we need as a people? But you know, everything falls, rises and falls on leadership. And until we get it correctly, you know, so you can talk about mining, you can talk about agriculture. We've not even talked about the human potentiality, which is completely endless. Harnessing that alone can put Nigeria on the globe. China, do they speak English? You know? So we have, looking at diversification, like I said again, I just pray this oil can go. Then you will really see the originality of Nigeria. The areas to diversify to, there are just too many. When I speak in Kenya, I can tell you something about the human capital of potentiality in Nigeria. When I go to Botswana or Kenya and I'm giving lecture and talking to people, the average African people want to be like Nigeria. They wonder why and how we are so bold. We speak to everybody. You know, we know what we are doing and we talk to them. And I'm telling you, anywhere in Africa, they are all listening. They want to be like Nigerians. If you travel, sometimes it can be like a hate, but you see, it is somebody that has something you don't have that you envy. Africa wants to be like Nigeria. So the sheer human capital, that is why take an average Nigerian that has even failed in our educational system and put him anywhere, he comes out right on top. That's our human capital. In inventions and in everything, we're there. But you know, again, this cow, this oil thing that we're talking about, we need to kill this cow and put it away so that it can allow for true diversification in Nigeria. So the areas are there. I just gave you 3. There are even many more. You know.
All right, Moses, what do you think could be responsible for these untapped resources?
I don't want to give you academics because, you know, we can start talking about, because the Nigerian economic does not tally with any other economy in the world. So I wouldn't, I would rather want to stay with the Nigerian factor. And the Nigerian factor is hydra-headed. It has different heads to it. This factor that is keeping us down, one is even religion. Because religion would never allow you to, not that religion in itself is bad, is the way it's used. The same way ethnicity is being used. You know, these factors in Nigeria does not allow us to be able to fully activate that which will help us to be able to diversify and do what we are supposed to do. So they becloud, and it's deep. Honestly, it's very deep. It's not as easy. It's what is even affecting our military. It has removed hope completely from Nigerians because, you know, there is no clear path when you start talking about this Nigerian factor. And it's really deep. And if we continue in this path, if we don't change, it's going to kill us. It's going to kill us, literally, you know. So you look at religion, you look at ethnicity, you look at these things, what we call the Nigerian factor. You know, you look at even federal character. So as against the best of brains, we have to rotate. Some of these fundamental things, until we begin to go in the path of meritocracy, we will have the worst of us leading the best of us. And in every sector, and it continues. You know, there is something that you're good at. I mean, why should you want to be, until we begin to look at, we have to look inwards in Nigeria. You know, it's just for the sake of time, because each of these factors that we're talking about that is holding us down, we can't even deliberate it with these sessions that we have. They've eaten deep into the fabrics of our system to the point that Nigerians we're not rational anymore. We don't think anymore. We've gotten to the point where a community would even tell you that, you know what, let that person be there as a minister. Even if we have never benefited anything, so long as he's our person, let the person be there. It's like saying that he's a thief. We recognize We know we accept, but he's our thief. So let him be there. You know, these things are not just for, we're not speaking just for the sake of TV. These are the things that are killing us. I mean, some of us have had opportunities to travel around the world and we know what is obtainable. But this same Nigerian factor, I don't know what is it about Nigeria that when it comes to when your father is a thief, you cannot call him a thief. When leaders are bad, when people do not qualify, but because they are your friends or they are your king's people, they have to. What is it? So is like a deep hatred for the Nigerian state. So something inside us is fighting the true Nigerian state to come to be given birth to. You know? So this is the core, the Nigerian factor. Is a serious, is the we that is in ourselves that do not, we are the devils that are doing ourselves, that do not allow, you know, the real things in Nigeria to come forth. You know, so look at that, you know, like the religious factor. You know, that one, I don't even know where to begin from. You know, where we have removed our brain. We do not even want to use our brain anymore. We have gone into something else. A complete delirium, a demential note. And I you know, sometimes people fight us. I know there are pockets of people who are doing the right thing. But when the overwhelming majority, 80%, 20% or 10% can never overcome 80%. And until the consciousness of the average Nigerians will be risen to the affirmative of our value system, we cannot overcome what we're talking about. It's a simple, clear example that we give. That if something is happening wrong now, and we call for a protest or something, people are afraid. Nigerians will not come out. You know, and I told you something that is very dangerous about what, I don't know, maybe through history and through times, it has put Nigeria in a place where the best never happens and the worst never happens. You know, all the countries on earth that have made it successfully, something has to give. There has to be a revolution of some sort. I'm not saying carry gun, but something has to give. But where against our value system, you have to give into religion or give into ethnicity, then there is a problem. If you have to give into the Nigerian factor, the character factor, then there is a serious problem. And until we cross that hurdle, I'm telling you, we're going to be here for a very long time.
All right, let's move down a little to agriculture. Moses, you will agree with me that agriculture suffered a setback as soon as oil was discovered in Olebiri. Now, how can we bring agriculture back to its former status?
I think I'm almost repeating myself. And like I told you, I don't want to go the academic way because Nigerians, I mean, you can find out that can be gotten anywhere. To return this country back to where agriculture was before, what the state we were before agriculture went down is where we need to be. This oil has to finish. Or we'll have a new set of leadership who will go beyond this oil sector and be able to bring out a new reform that will allow us to be able to tap into these untapped resources. This is what has to happen. And I mean it. But this dementia of this oil money, you know, it's a very sweet money where you do nothing but you get everything. We must go it will never work. It just would not work. You know? So I'm going beyond the academics. All those things we get a lecture, UN, NGO, and all, it will not work. It's a scam. It's just not going to work. And we must remove them. So this oil needs to dry up. It needs to dry up. When the oil dries up, then Nigeria will come back. Except, of course, change in leadership. It's only a madman that will keep doing the same thing and accepting and wanting a different result. I'm sorry, but you know what? So long as we have the leaders who have been ruling us for the past 30 years, 40 years, in 21st century, my sister, nothing is going to change. The world is operating on a new level of reform, of system, of thinking. The thinking of our current leadership will never take us anywhere. You're talking about agriculture. The person who is the agricultural minister, because I want people to understand right now. I mean, I'm just 40 plus. He's been a minister and has been ruling for more than 40 years ago. That's since the time I was born. at a time when a 31-year-old is leading a developed nation, we still have this crop of leadership. They do not have answers to our generation. It will not work. There has to be an emergence of new leadership in this country. If that happens, fearless, objective, decisive crop of people who can look at this problem that we have and be able to quell it, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of religion. The true Nigerians who will come up, those are the leaders that will make a change in Nigeria. Who will look at and say, shut this oil thing, open this, do this. I mean, until that happens. So I can tell you what, change in leadership can bring about this revolution we're talking about in agriculture. All the others will be a continuum in the scam that we are in. Nothing is going to work. You wonder why it is agriculture and rural development. It is because if the rural areas are not developed, where are you going with the agriculture? You don't know the amount of product that we are losing every day because we have no connectivity in our rural roads, and we all are sitting in the cities. Even the things that are produced, before they come out, they're already spoiled because there's no connectivity. So, but I don't want to go and say, you know what, and rural connectivity, give fertilizer to farmers. Our leaders do not even have the guts to make sure that they follow through the chains and make sure things are done. So a new crop of leadership can bring about a revolution that can allow, and like I told you, one sector alone. If you take human capital, just like Japan, human capital, zero natural resources, Nigerians are able, our human capital is enough to put us on the globe. Then when you talk about agriculture, Nigerians are very strong people though. Very strong people. But they must be changed in mindset, in thinking, in leadership. Once that happens, Rose will be on the path. And you know what? It won't take any time. It will happen like day and night. It can happen. It is possible. But not with the current system.
Still dwelling on agriculture, do you think farmers are getting the needed assistance from bankers?
I mean, something is just wrong with the system because, I mean, I'm in touch with grassroots. And I can tell you, anything that happens from the boardroom, that is the end. Even the fertilizers are supposed to get to the farmers. Before it gets there, the value chain is already is gone completely rogue. Not only that, you are talking about assistance from what? Do we have banks in Nigeria? They are just business centers doing their own thing. Try, Rose, do not, you see, like, I don't want us to fake it. Try and take a loan from bank, then you will understand what I'm talking about. We do not have banks. In nations where we have banks, the banks go out and look for farmers. They go out and look for people who are working, who they can give loans to. That's what is done. The percentage rate, banks are there to just kill us. They cannot. If they are, let them call and tell us. I'm here. Sure, we are here. There is no need now. If we are getting the assistance, let them call and tell us. No, farmers do not. No, they don't. And we do not have banks in Nigeria. We only have places where we go to store money. But we don't have banks in Nigeria. So they are not getting it. They are not getting it at all. That's why we're importing food now. Like I told you, if we're talking about, we say, all these things we see on paper, how come Nigerians are hungry? How come the Minister of Agriculture is shouting that people are importing food from...
Let's take this call. Hello? Hello? Okay. Go ahead.
We're talking about importing food. Not just food. Even pizza. So you see, something is completely wrong. If farmers will get the needed help and farm and do what they are supposed to do. And don't forget, before we even get to that place where we are right now, Rose, I'm sitting down here. The Ministry of Water Resources, a year or two ago, gave me 100 hectares farmland. I can't go there because of herdsmen. When we try to go there, we know what we suffer. So we are here kidding ourselves. Farmers are dying. You are talking about getting help when they are dying. when they can't even go to the farm. So even if they get the help, where are they going with it? Now, this is the reality that we are in Nigeria, and there is no point coming to speak English here, and until we need to just correct this mess. You know?
Okay, now what are your suggestions towards achieving food sufficiency in Nigeria?
At first, I really thought that it was about a clash between herders and farmers. But again, if you look at history, again, that didn't exist before.
Okay, let's take this call. Hello. Hello, welcome to Clearview Television Studio. Okay, go on.
You are asking what we have to do to
achieve food sufficiency in Nigeria.
again, for what you people want to hear. Fix rural roads, give fertilizer to farmers, policies that will allow for our bankings to be able to support the sector and all of that. Rose, if we do this 2-3 points and all of that, things will be done. But first and foremost, there is an impending danger that we are facing right now in Nigeria. Some of the things we are discussing here now, I remember when some of us started talking about it a few years ago, we could not even discuss that. But now, if you have a farm in Kaduna, you cannot even go. If you go further into Nasarawa, there's a place you cannot go. Food basket of the nation. I think we need to change that tag now. Because it definitely is no more the food basket of the nation. If we correct this insecurity problem, and then you add all the bits from reforming our policies, and because once you reform policies, they put things in place that will allow our banks to be able to support our farmers. If we do these bits and those things, of course, and go beyond just this boardroom, white paper, and all these committees that we keep setting up, to getting down. And like I said, our people, they travel. There's a Reverend Father that left for one of, I think it's Benin Republic. They now established a very big farm. He is there on the net. Why? Because there were no conducive environment and help in Nigeria. So he went, and he's doing fantastically well right now, even employing some of the Nigerians that are going there, because something is wrong with our country. And like I was saying before, I thought it was a clash. Oh, but now we are seeing that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, with the dialogue they're having with the headsmen, and 100 billion is going there. Do you know the danger that is? So there's a replication of what happened in the Niger Delta now. We are seeing it now. Oh, so the only way our government can hear and give money. So it's about money sharing. And remember, this money we're talking about is our collective money plus what is coming from the oil. Do you know the danger that is sitting in the middle belt of Nigeria? From Kaduna to Benue to Plateau to Adamawa, all these energies of youth that are no more going to the farm. We want to activate something that we might not be able to contain. You see these energies? Like I said, the middle belt of Nigeria alone can feed us and can make us a stable economy. If we do this, of course, we'll restore back. But until that is done, farmers do not go to farms anymore. I'm saying it because I'm not just sitting here on TV. I'm in touch with base. And I know what I'm saying. I know the danger we're sitting on. So first and foremost, we need to deal with this insecurity problem. And the way we are going about it, you know what? We are actually, since they now know that it's 100 billion, wait and see what is going to happen in the middle belt. Because they will now demand for what? For 200 billion. Oh, so the question is, we're talking about food sufficiency. If you are giving 100 billion to the farmer, to the herdsmen, so that they do not kill, what happens to the people that are on the other side? The ones receiving the machetes, the guns, and the knives. What happens to the farmers? If you even come out and say 100 billion for herdsmen, 100 billion for farmers, maybe. But the agenda, again, when we go back, you will not fault anybody who start looking at the ethnicity problem and the religious problem. This is what keeps taking us back in this country. But again, you are asking for how do I talk about what will help us and not look at the problem? Because again, Rose, we need to remove the problem. If we can remove the problem, then we would remove it. And like I said, it still comes back to leadership. When we have the kind of people who we have, who are giving 100 billion, it needs to be removed. Look at Liberia, look at Sierra Leone. We are towing the paths of the things that cause a lot of danger to them. But go back, I was in Liberia a few months ago. And now they are engaging the youth, they are engaging these people. If we do that, we will have foods, we will restore back. It's in our value system. It's the value system.
All right, very quickly, let's move away from the area of agriculture now to the area of mining. In the area of mining, we understand that the state government they're in control of the land, but it seems the federal government is in control of mining. Does this augur well with the industry?
It's a big problem, and there've been so much conversations in even I remember in the 2008 or 7 when I attended the forum for the environmental day. The different forum is actually a serious problem, and it has to do with, you can't federal government cannot be in charge of carrying out environmental impact assessment, and then the state is the one in charge of. It's something that needs to be harmonized. It's almost like the same problem we are facing, where there are interlaps of different agencies and organizations. If you cannot draw a clear line between what the military are supposed to do as against what the police is supposed to do, and what civil defense is supposed to do, and what real safety is supposed to do, people who are not supposed to have anything to do with driver's license are stopping you and harassing your life, people who are not supposed to carry gun are carrying gun. That's exactly the problem that we're having. It's not auguring well, and it's it's a huge block, stumbling block to the exploration and mining industry in Nigeria. It's not helping, because when federal government wants to make revenue, that's why they control the EIA. But they get back there, and the people are saying that you cannot come here and collect the money, and then what do you expect us to do? So you see where the problem is. Again, what are we talking about? Leadership. We need reforms.
Let's take this caller. Hello. 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 Oh, I think it's network. And then when you're calling, please try to stay away from your TV set so we can hear you, because I could hear myself even in the call. All right. Still talking about that. Now let's just imagine you are an entrepreneur in the area of untapped resources, and then you are invited to a FEC meeting to advise experts in the field. Now, Moses, you have the floor. Tell us what you said.
It's just accumulation of everything that I've said. Somewhere I feel like the people who sit on that board are not in touch with reality. They sit in Abuja, and we're talking about untapped resources. You can see that it's either there is a conspiracy between what is happening with the people who are governing us and the few elites taking Zamfara as a case study. They've been mining gold for all these years. The federal government cannot say they don't know now. So if I go into FEC meeting to talk to them, first of all, I think I would, not because they do not know, and it's not a case of coming to advise them. I'll probably abuse them first of all, and I'll advise the president to remove all of them. Because it's only a mad person that will keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. The bomb blasts that killed people in Sri Lanka, the IG and all the other people were removed. We'll keep changing these people until we get the right people. We have the right people in Nigeria. So I will not go there. It's not going to be funny at all if I go there. And I pray they don't even carry some of us to those kind of places. But if they want the truth, they better take us. We are sitting on danger. Kaduna is 2 hours away from here. And look at what is happening. Do they not know? Of course they know. So the advice is to remove them. Remove them completely. The case of Nigeria is a very serious case. Anybody who wants to be a minister should do it for free. Come and offer your services for free. I'm telling you what I would advise them. Mr. President, you already have something going, you are making money. You do not need any money to do your job. We will provide all the things you need. You are going to work for free. Then you will see the real Nigerians who truly love Nigerians will come on board. And I'm telling you, like this, we can get Nigeria's problem solved. But as long as we keep going, they invite you, I prepare a paper, I go, and now advise. There is nothing you want to tell them that they don't already know. It was the governor of Kaduna State in one of the interviews that said, as a minister, the intels he receives, that the president receives 50 more. These are things that are online. They know everything. In any case, they travel around the world. Some of us have been to a few. They go to the best of places. Is he not the minister of the minister of petroleum that is meeting with the Saudi Arabia delegates? Am I there? So he's meeting with the best of brains. So there is nothing technically I can provide to them that they don't already know. But they will not do it. So what they will do, my advice to them is that all of you drop your resignation and let's have new people who are ready to work. Because they are all there for the money. There is nothing anybody wants to tell us that I want to hear. So that's my advice. That's what I'm going to advise them, in fact. You know.
All right, and very quickly before we go, Moses, do you see an end to brain drain in Nigeria? When I say brain drain, I mean resource people leaving the country. When you come to medical field and all of that, you see our doctors leaving the country and all of that. Do you see an end to this brain drain?
Yes and no. As long as the Minister of Labor, right, said a few weeks ago that we have too much of medical people. And I have friends that I know that come from Saudi Arabia to recruit the best of people that we have. And I know they are listening to me. They recruit the best of our doctors, the best of our nurses, and they keep carrying them, you know. And when the ratio to one doctor to 600 people, as in the global standard, you know, as against 1 to about 6,000 thereabout, I can't remember the Nigerian ratio right now, and a minister who is also a doctor, to say that we have too much of these people in Nigeria that we all know that we are dying. How can we see the end now, my sister, to brain drain? I'm surprised that even me, I'm still here with what I can do. I'm surprised that you are here, because if you're in Canada, to tell the truth, you'll be making times 20 what you are making. If you're in America, what you're doing, any of us, the camera people, the welders, the brick, if they're in America, I've been to New York and I can tell you, any of us there, when you are, the least you can make, I mean, my friends were telling me, come, just follow us to come and hold things for us, let's work. The plumbers, and I'm talking about graduates who are doing plumbing work in America, who are my friends when we go. Just to help them work every day and make at least.
Quickly take this call.
Take the call and I'll be back to this.
Okay, just go on that.
You know, if you can make $100, how much is $100? That's the money I can make in one day. Just, I'm talking about minimum. I'm not employed or anything. No, just following my friend, you know, to go and help him. By the time I'm talking about being gainfully employed as a professional, is a different thing altogether. Now, if I can make that amount of money in one day, what am I doing in Nigeria if I have the option? Coupled with the fact that a minister comes on national TV to come and tell us that we have too much. I don't know if it is too much babalawos we have or too much. I don't know the doctors he was referring to. But in all sincerity and honesty, in that kind of thinking and narrative, there is no way that will allow for a complete brain drain of the Nigerian system. But I can tell you something. Yes, I can see an end. As more people come out to challenge this wrong narrative and this paradigm that is being painted, and to demand for accountability, and to demand for right leadership, as we keep this fight going on, yes, of course, I expect more Nigerians to come in from the US, from everywhere, the best of us, to come inside and fight and restore our country. And I can tell you, as a believer, in the Holy Scripture, it is there. The best of the people that helped their countries were people who went out. So we can get a different kind of orientation and come back and fight, because at the end of the day, wherever you go, you can never rise to the top. It's only in this country. Nigeria is the only place where you and I and our children can aspire for the highest seat. Any other place we go to. I mean, you see what is happening in South Africa with these xenophobic experiences. Oh, are we done with Libya when Nigerians are being killed every day? You don't want to talk about what is happening in the UAE with our girls and all the things that are happening. But should we not talk about them? We've gone beyond not just even prostitution, not just rape cases, inhumane stuff that are happening to them. You know, forgive the use of, but these are things that are happening. You know, that our girls go through things I can't even talk about. I'm not talking about prostitution. I mean, things that deaths are better than. And yet we have a country like this. If you can go through that, why not come back and let's fight? I'm talking about beautiful people. Beautiful people. People with full of brains, intellectuals. People that when they stand to argue, listen to the argument of the average Nigerians on the street. Impeccable. Sometimes they are completely incomparable with the people who are leading us. You know. So, in speaking about this, yes, there can be an end to it, but it has to be a fight. A price has to be paid, you know, for us to get there.
And there you have it from Moses Paul. We can't just have enough of him. I just feel like this time is not even enough.
Absolutely.
Because I see like you have so much you want to pour out.
Absolutely, obviously.
But of course, time won't permit us. At this moment, we'll be going on a very short break. When we return, Prudence will be back with me in the studio where we'll take a press review. So please don't go anywhere. Stay with us.